No Man's Sky, it's finally time to face the music. The day has come to carry out justice once again and answer the hard question with No Man's Sky. Did it fail? The launch of No Man's Sky was pretty much the biggest controversy of 2016, just no questions asked. The crossroads of when lies, deception, and misleading PR came together oh so nicely behind an astronomical amount of hype. People were just bonkers for No Man's Sky, and rightfully so. It was touted as the game of our lifetime, the go anywhere, do anything, galactic open world adventure where you could just lose yourself in the deep, black, endless space. You, me, your grandma, everybody, we could zip around the galaxy fighting, trading, gathering, and building our own personal stories on a scale never seen before. So anticipated was No Man's Sky that the studio actually received death threats when it announced a small delay before it was put out. The world could not wait for No Man's Sky, the game of unlimited possibilities, quite literally. But those dreams were a mirage. The real story was a tale of trickery and lies that was oh so carefully crafted by none other than Sean Murray and Hello Games Studio. Without beating a dead horse, No Man's Sky was a big fat lie. The idea of No Man's Sky was to create this endless procedurally generated universe to explore while gathering materials, building up and buzzing around the planets, searching for the so-called center of the universe. The concept was great, but the execution was terrible. There were no space battles in the atmosphere, no multiplayer interactions, no interesting NPCs or economy, no physics, no factions, everything an elementary lifeless grind. The list is endless. So naturally, when all of this was exposed, the shit hit the fan. Long story short, Hello Games Studio took their money and ran, quite literally, into hiding and wouldn't return for many months. But then a lone tweet surfaced quietly, the words, "If you could have lived our lives over the last months," hinting at how horrible the backlash was for the company. The Foundation patch was released to a very surprised yet still riled up crowd of angry gamers, and it didn't win over many of them given the catastrophe of the launch. While the base construction, the survival modes, and the farming elements were good additions for sure, they should have been there at the launch, and everyone knew that. But with the Pathfinder patch 1.2 and Atlas Rises, No Man's Sky finally found a home where it could be called a good game, or at least a decent game. But was it just too late? No Man's Sky was one of the best-selling games of 2016. Sadly, everyone knows it was because the misleading PR was used to ensure that we'd all be dancing in our little shoes to the tune of No Man's Sky before it even came out. No Man's Sky has garnered an enormous 1 million plus Steam sales to this day, which in itself would be a ridiculous amount of money for any studio, let alone a small one. It was also Sony's second biggest ever PS4 launch game in the UK, as well as the #1 best-selling game out on the PlayStation Store. Yes, that many people bought the game despite the fallout. At launch, No Man's Sky had one of the biggest and the highest concurrent player counts on Steam at over 212,000 players. But of course that sunk like the Titanic within days, and after 2 months, the player count had fizzled up to less than 1,000 players. What's really interesting is how the updates, 1.1 to 1.3, impacted the player counts. The Foundation and the Pathfinder updates saw nearly identical booms in both player counts and decline in growth rates, meaning nearly the same amount of people jumped back in and nearly the same time elapsed before they took off again too. Now Atlas Rises, that's a different story. After all, it was quote-unquote the patch to fix the game. Like a herd of wild animals, people came back in droves, but ended up grazing for only a few days before moving on to greener pastures, indicated by the steepness of this red arrow. However, player counts are currently up and stabilizing to around 2,000 to 5,000 players, which honestly isn't that terrible, or great for that matter, for a year-old game. The main component of building a successful video game company is doing right by your customers. It builds loyalty, goodwill, and in turn it makes us come back for more. It gives us the incentive to support our favorite developers, feel good about giving them extra money for DLC, and pay full price for their new games. If nothing else, it ensures we don't want to pirate their games. After all, happy people don't mind paying for what they feel good about. No Man's Sky is a game that did the industry dirty, fooled pretty much everybody. It was a big scheme to rob the piggy bank as fast and hard as possible with as little care given to the end user. Is their labor over the last year in giving us free content and fixing the game enough to make those scars go away? I think for me, it all comes down to ethics. Is this something that a good person or a good group of people would do? No, it's not. But I think it's even more important to look out for lessons learned in situations like this. Do you believe in second chances? You know, I think we've all done some bad stuff in life, but it's the people who step up to the plate and admit their wrongdoings that are the ones that can self-improve. Fixing No Man's Sky was no small feat, and it's now whole again. Hello Games didn't have to work their butts off the last year to fix the game, but they did. So maybe there is some hope for the once corrupt studio after all. Will we give them a second chance if that day ever comes? But hey, that's a question for you guys to answer in the comment section. So thanks very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. I've got a Patreon. You can thumbs this video up. You can subscribe here. All of these things help out this channel way more than you know. So thank you very much again. We'll see you on our next video. Peace, love, and happiness, guys.